Welcome to Brainish English Stories.
There was once a fisherman who lived with his wife in a small, dirty house near the sea. The fisherman went out fishing every day. One day, he was sitting on the shore with his fishing rod, watching the shiny waves and his fishing line. Suddenly, his fishing float went deep into the water. When he pulled in his line, he caught a golden fish. But the fish said, "Please let me live. I am not a real fish. I am a prince under a spell. Put me back in the water and let me go." "Oh, wow," said the man. "I don't want to keep a talking fish. Swim away, fish, as fast as you can." Then he put the fish back into the water, and the fish swam down to the bottom, leaving a long trail of blood in the water. When the fisherman went home to his wife in the small, dirty house, he told her how he had caught a golden fish, and how it had told him it was a prince under a spell, and how he had let it go because it could talk. "Didn't you ask it for anything?" said the wife. "We live very poorly here in this dirty house. Go back and tell the fish we want a nice little cottage." The fisherman did not really want to go, but he went to the seashore again. When he got there, the water looked all yellow and green. He stood at the water's edge and said, "Oh, man of the sea, listen to me. My wife Ilsebil wants her own will, and sent me to ask a gift from you." Then the fish came swimming to him and said, "What does your wife want?" "Ah," said the fisherman, "she says that when I caught you, I should have asked you for something before letting you go. She doesn't want to live in the small, dirty house anymore and wants a nice little cottage." "Go home then," said the fish. "She is already in the cottage." So the man went home and saw his wife standing at the door of a nice little cottage. Come in," said the wife. "Isn't this much better than the dirty house we had?" There was a living room, a bedroom, and a kitchen, and behind the cottage, there was a little garden with all kinds of flowers and fruits. There was a yard behind, full of ducks and chickens. "Ah," said the fisherman, "how happy we will be now." "We will try to be happy," said his wife. Everything was good for a week or two, and then Dame Ilsebil said, "Husband, this cottage is not big enough for us. The yard and the garden are too small. I want a big stone castle to live in. Go to the fish again and tell him to give us a castle." "Wife," said the fisherman, "I don't want to ask him again, because he might be angry. We should be happy with this nice cottage." "Don't be silly," said the wife. "He will do it for us, I know. Go and try." The fisherman went, but he was very sad. When he came to the sea, it looked blue and dark, even though it was calm. He went to the edge of the waves and said, "Oh, man of the sea, listen to me. My wife Ilsebil wants her own will, and sent me to ask a gift from you." "Well, what does she want now?" said the fish. "Ah," said the man sadly, "my wife wants to live in a stone castle." "Go home then," said the fish. "She is already at the gate of the castle." So the fisherman went home and found his wife standing before the gate of a big castle. "See," she said, "isn't this grand?" They went into the castle together and found many servants there. The rooms were all beautifully decorated with golden chairs and tables. Behind the castle was a garden, and around it was a park half a mile long, full of sheep, goats, hares, and deer, and in the yard were stables and cow-houses. "Well," said the man, "now we will live happily in this beautiful castle for the rest of our lives." "Maybe we will," said the wife, "but let's sleep on it before we decide." So they went to bed. The next morning when Dame Ilsebil woke up, it was bright daylight, and she nudged the fisherman with her elbow and said, "Get up, husband, and get moving, because we must be king of all the land." "Wife, wife," said the man, "why do we need to be king?" "I don't want to be king." "Then I will be king," she said. "But wife," said the fisherman, "how can you be king? The fish can't make you a king." "Husband," she said, "don't talk about it anymore. Just go and ask." "I want to be king." So the man went away very sad, thinking that his wife wanted to be king. This time the sea looked dark gray with big waves and white foam. He called out, "O man of the sea, listen to me. My wife Ilsebil wants her own will and sent me to ask a gift from you." "Well, what does she want now?" said the fish. "Alas," said the poor man, "my wife wants to be king." "Go home," said the fish, "she is king already." Then the fisherman went home, and as he got close to the palace, he saw a group of soldiers and heard the sound of drums and trumpets. When he went in, he saw his wife sitting on a throne of gold and diamonds with a golden crown on her head. On each side of her stood 6 tall maidens. "Well, wife," said the fisherman, "are you king?" "Yes," she said, "I am king." And after he looked at her for a long time, he said, "Ah, wife, it is so nice to be king. Now we will never want anything more for the rest of our lives." "I don't know about that," she said. "Never is a long time. I am king, it's true, but I am starting to get tired of it. I think I want to be emperor." "Oh no, wife. Why do you want to be emperor?" said the fisherman. "Husband," she said, "go to the fish. I want to be emperor." "Oh, wife," replied the fisherman, "the fish can't make you emperor, I'm sure, and I don't want to ask him for that." "I am king," said Ilsebil, "and you are my servant. So go now." So the fisherman had to go, and he muttered as he walked, "This won't end well. It's asking too much. The fish will get tired eventually, and then we'll regret what we've done." He soon reached the seashore. The water was dirty and a strong wind blew over the waves, but he went as close as he could to the water and said, "O man of the sea, listen to me. My wife Ilsebil wants her own will and sent me to ask a gift from you." "What does she want now?" said the fish. "Ah," said the fisherman, "she wants to be emperor." "Go home," said the fish, "she is already emperor." So he went home again, and as he got closer, he saw his wife Ilsebil sitting on a very tall throne made of gold, with a big crown on her head 2 yards high. Her guards and servants stood beside her, getting smaller and smaller, from giants to tiny dwarfs. Princes, dukes, and earls stood before her. The fisherman went up to her and said, "Wife, are you emperor?" "Yes," she said, "I am emperor." "Ah," said the man, looking at her, "being emperor is great." "Wife," he said, "why stop at emperor? I will be pope next." "Oh, husband," she said, "how can you be pope? There's only one pope at a time." "Husband," she said, "I will be Pope today." "But," said the husband, "the fish can't make you Pope." "Nonsense," she said. "If he can make me emperor, he can make me Pope. Go and ask him." So the fisherman went. But when he reached the shore, the wind was strong and the sea was rough. Ships were in trouble, and the sky was red in the south, like a storm was coming. The fisherman was very scared, and he trembled as he spoke. "O man of the sea, listen to me. My wife Ilsebil wants her own will, and sent me to ask a gift from you." "What does she want now?" said the fish. "Ah," said the fisherman, "my wife wants to be Pope." "Go home," said the fish. "She is already Pope." Then the fisherman went home and found Ilsebil sitting on a throne that was 2 miles high. She had 3 big crowns on her head, and all the power of the church was around her. There were rows of burning lights on each side of her, some as big as tall towers, and some as small as little candles. "Wife," said the fisherman, looking at all this, "are you Pope?" "Yes," she said, "I am Pope." "Well, wife," he said, "being Pope is great. You can't be anything greater." "I'll think about it," said the wife. Then they went to bed, but Dame Ilsebil couldn't sleep all night because she was thinking about what she could be next. Finally, as she was almost falling asleep, morning came and the sun rose. She thought when she saw it through the window. "I can't stop the sun from rising." This made her very angry, and she woke up her husband and said, "Husband, go to the fish and tell him I must control the sun and moon." The fisherman was half asleep, but he was so scared by the idea that he jumped out of bed. "Oh no, wife, can't you be happy being Pope?" "No," she said, "I'm not happy if the sun and moon rise without my say. Go to the fish now." So the man, trembling with fear, went towards the shore. A terrible storm started, shaking the trees and rocks. The sky turned black with clouds, and lightning flashed and thunder roared. In the sea, huge waves rose like mountains with white foam on top. The fisherman went to the sea and shouted as loud as he could, "O man of the sea, listen to me. My wife Ilsebil wants her own will, and sent me to ask a gift from you." "What does she want now?" said the fish. "Ah," said he, "she wants to control the sun and moon." "Go home," said the fish, "back to your dirty house." And that's where they still live today.